So I'm going to try to show how I do this kind of wire weaving. This is 32 gauge fine silver. It is incredibly tiny. So where's my thing? So if you can see, it'll close up. It is, maybe it's not going to let it close up. It is super, super, super fine. As I've been working it, I have to be careful that it doesn't kink like this. Morgana is my lovely assistant today doing the videography. So what I do, this is really more like sewing. This kind of craft is basically a version of null binding, but with wire.
Sewing with wire.
Yeah, it's kind of like sewing, or it's sewing, but you're not sewing onto anything, you're just sewing into itself. So I like to sort of, instead of licking my thread and making it a point as if you're going to thread a needle, it's its own needle. For this style, I'm bringing it around the back, because this is going to be the back of the band. And then, what I'm doing is, I have to count, that's good, 1, 2 threads up. Because what I'm doing what I call a double weave, or a double stitch. So this is my first column of stitches, and I'm doing double weave. So I'm going to put my needle in between 1, 2 threads. It's going to come out between 1, 2 threads. Then I'm just going to pull it, well, just like you would with regular thread, but instead it's with silver wire. And then I'm going to make sure that I don't want too much extra around this back, so I'm going to make sure that's tight, and then I'm going to pull that loop nice and closed. So it goes in from the right, behind the crossed threads of the stitches above it, out from 1, 2 up, above, and I can see here, this is actually 1, 2, and then the third is the working thread, and then it comes out the left and loops back around to the right. I'm going to do that again with all of these. So I'm going to go, make sure I've got sort of a needle end. I'm going to count 1, 2 threads up, push in, right to left, pull it tight, cross it back around to the right. I'm going to do this 2 more times. In there. Whoops. Sometimes it springs back because it's kind of springy wire. There we go. And oh, see, I gotta watch that it doesn't hold the camera steady. Okay. I've got to watch that it doesn't tangle like this. It's prone to tangling and looping in on itself because it's been worked for a while.
The more you work it, the more the harder it gets, and the harder to work with it. It gets kind of like rust.
That's, well, not like rust.
Rusty, but not like that.
It's actually called work hardening. It's because as you work it, you're compressing the molecules within the metal. So they're actually getting harder and tighter together.
I sound like a baby on camera.
Yeah, me too. I feel like I sound like a 5-year-old, but that's okay. So there we go. In through, I'm going 1, 2, in 1, 2, out 1, 2. And I'm trying to make sure that I don't have too much looseness in this. So I'm going to pull that. I'm going to flatten it out. and there was a round of stitches. So now I'm back to the beginning. That's fine. Back to the beginning.
A book just fell.
I'm gonna ignore the back. Go around and around and around. And back again to the front. And this is all you do for this phase of what is really badly titled silver tissue work, according to the Swedish Museum find. It's really a kind of Norse wire weaving, or what would be Coptic stitch.
Looks like a mermaid.
In nail binding. Done.
It
makes this neat little fishbone weave.
I can see it a lot closer than you can.
Yep.
And it focuses whenever it will do that.
It will. It was doing it for a while. Anyway, so I'm going to do a whole lot more of this because I have to do this until it is enough to make trim.
But the thing is, at the bottom right here, it's more circular than up here.
Well, I squished this. This here has been slightly flattened, so I could see if I was doing it about even. There's the back, which makes just these little straight threads. And then, because what I'm going to do eventually is it's going to have a woven band stuck into the middle. It's going to be flattened evenly, and it's also going to have a herringbone embroidery, or backwards herringbone embroidery stitch worked through each of these ladders in between the ribs of the stitch.
I was going to say...
And that's crazy making, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah, but Mommy, what I was going to say is, what project are you doing?
This is going to be a replication of it's called Silver Tissue Work. It was from an exhibition called We Call Them Vikings that went to the Ottawa Museum recently and toured North America. But the extant finds are housed in the Swedish Museum. And they're from Viking era finds.
I feel like, I think you probably already explained that. You explained it before. Yeah. It's just, I didn't really catch it since I was busy trying to make the camera focus.
Thank you.
And stuff.
Shall we stop?
Yeah, we can stop.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.